Hello everyone and welcome back to Crowley House Flower Farm. We're going to be diving into pelargoniums, the scented geranium, and it's one of my favorite foliages to grow as a cut production and for the garden. So I thought we would dive into some of the ones we selected this year to have in the garden. We also are going to follow along as Rilley and Jason do a small intimate wedding. We have a red and white wedding, which is one of the hardest weddings color palettes to work with sometimes. It's not something that I'm super drawn to, but Rilley pulled it off just absolutely stunning. Later, we're going to be tackling the garden behind me. It's my cool garden it's my personal garden that is kind of semi-shade, and it's one of my favorite things to do. It's coming along really great. The only thing is I've neglected it a little bit, and I tend to do that from time to time. You've seen that probably if you followed us at all, where I kind of go, it's just beautiful, and then I'm like, oh, it's pretty, and I'm gonna walk away and do other things, and then I come back and it just needs some help. So every year I tend to it and add to it, and this year it's really starting to fill out, so I'm going to take you along as I spruce that up. The girls I think are going to help me with it, and we're just going to get weeding done, get some compost down, and we're going to take you from start to finish on that. So it's going to be kind of cool seeing that. Anyways, Rilley also has been trimming a lot of our apple trees and fruit trees that we have here on the farm. So we're going to check in with her really quick and see how that's going as well. Last year, I kind of discovered a hidden talent that I had. No idea this was in me, but I have it. And apparently I'm a really good arbitrist. Totally.
Arborist or arbitrist?
I'm really good at pruning trees, especially fruit trees. Don't know where this came from. The first year I totally guessed it. This year I did a little more research, but last year we had a lady who her family has owned an apple farm, and she complimented our trees and was like, oh my god, these look professional. Who does your trees? I'm like, I do their trees. So we have a bunch of varieties of apple trees here on the farm. We have no idea what they are or the varieties because they were planted by the people who were here before us and they didn't leave any tags, but they've been really fun having around. I feel like we could use them more. They're more just for like the beauty of it, but they're really fun having, and I'm really proud of them and how good they look, because like, look at this, guys. Like, it looks amazing. Beth just did a bit of research in the back when I was like, I don't know what the varieties are. So apparently she knows what the varieties are. This one here is a Gala, and this one, it produces like the most beautiful, like snow white red apple I've ever seen. And it tastes really sweet. We don't use it. Like, I feel like it'd be like a really good, like eating apple. They're really hard, maybe good for like making pies or something. It hasn't produced a ton in the last couple years, so I'm hoping with the pruning we've done, it will give us the fruit. This is the one that we've harvested off the most for sure. One, because it's right outside our front door and it's very easy access. And two, because it produces so much, we actually were able to make some applesauce with it last year. Delicious. I'm not a huge applesauce person myself, texturally, but I like baking with it, and it's been a great staple in our cupboards this year. This guy, he's the black sheep of the family. He's questionable, I will say. I have had to do a lot of questionable things to this tree. We think it might be a Lady Blush apple tree. It was planted here as a seedling, not by us, okay? And it's been neglected until I came along and adopted it and made it my own. I have a lot of faith in her, okay? I think she's going to be great someday. Maybe this next year. She has a lot of growing to do. She will be better. By next year, you're gonna see she's gonna be fantastic.
So we only have the 4 apple trees up here at the house right now. We used to have a peach tree and then she died tragically. She also didn't produce any peaches except for one, and it was crusty and it was gross. I want a new peach tree. But for right now, we only have the 4 apple trees, but we have another little orchard in the back that I've been working on. It's still a work in progress, but we're gonna go look at that right now. As you can see by the mess, this is where I've been working. You can tell I've been working here because of the mess. Haven't fixed it up yet because we're actually leaving the branches on the ground to see if they'll bloom so that we can use the stem cuts to take up to market. But here in the front, we have our lovely little hedge of elderberries that we cut on every year. We love making elderberry syrup and like things for medicinal purposes. I love drying them for putting them in tea mixes. They've been literally legendary. They produce so much fruit every year. It's amazing, and they're gorgeous with the flowers blooming in the early summer. Usually we would cut them down all the way to the base, but this year and last year actually we decided that we wanted to just kind of cut them like midway so that the hedge can be tall. Maybe next year we'll cut it all the way down. We're just kind of experimenting with this form of trimming them this year. But we go into the orchard. So this orchard here is mostly used for cider. A lot of the apples and pears are really hard, but they would make great cider juice. This tree here is a Golden Delicious. I am currently working on her, as you can tell. I still need to trim all the water whips on top, but this is our tallest apple tree we have. So I've been too lazy to get a ladder to finish it. She has had a lot of work done to her this year. I've done a lot of cutting. Again, I'm trying to arbor the trees to arch down so that the fruit is easy accessible. Also, these branches are the ones that are going to produce the most fruit, and also so it like can support itself, I guess. My pride and joy, and probably the most different tree we have right now. This is our Asian pear tree, and as you can see, thriving. This baby, she just keeps going. She is gorgeous. Her blooms are like fully out right now. She's really showing off for y'all. But I love this tree. Asian pears are like hands down the best pear out there. It's like crispy apple with the sweetness of a pear, and it's just beautiful. I really want to try making some kimchi this year. I have some Chinese cabbage growing, and one of the main ingredients in kimchi is Asian pears, and my mind gets so excited thinking about making kimchi with everything grown on the farm. It's one of my favorite fermented foods, so hopefully everything works out and we can actually make it this year. But we love our Asian pear here. This guy is a bit of a rarity actually, and a bit of a special tree. This is a sickle sugar pear, which are usually used in like more, decadent desserts. My dad said that this tree, there's a type of whiskey where they will bottle the pears as they're growing, and then they will grow inside the bottle before they pour the whiskey in it, which I'm like fascinated by. And they're very, very, very tiny. They're little baby pears, very sweet, very full of flavor. I really want to do some experimenting with like poached pears this fall. So hopefully you'll see those recipes later on in the year, but she's a beaut. On the side of the house here, we have some gnarly plum trees that were planted before us. Kind of work more as a hedge than an actual fruiting tree for us, so we mostly just leave them alone. This is my fig tree that hasn't quite produced fruit. We have 2 of them. But this one's the oldest one. It was planted by the people that lived here before us. I haven't done a ton of research on figs. I haven't really looked into this tree that much on what the process is of taking care of it. There was a giant rose tree or rose bush, whatever, that was actually engulfing this tree. So it's kind of growing in a sideward angle, trying to reach the sun to survive. We took care of the rose bush this year, so I think I need to do some research on how to take care of this, because it would be fantastic to actually get figs off of this tree, because it always produces them, but it doesn't quite get to the point where they get ripe enough. So maybe this year. So we're at the yurt, and we have 4 fruiting trees back here. 2 of them are apples and 2 of them are pears. The apples are a little questionable usually. The pears, though, they go off. They produce so much fruit every year that they are hangling and a-dangling down. Like, I think they're gonna break. Do we use it? No. This year, though, I think it would be fantastic if we actually made some pear cider. I think that's a great job for Ring to do, him and his brewing skills. But these trees, we usually leave them pretty tall. We don't do the same process as we do in the other orchards where we have them arching, because these trees are mainly used for shading the yurt, because it gets toasty in there and we gotta protect ourselves from the sun. These are just shade trees pretty much, but they still produce, and we still like to use what we have here on the farm.
Okay, so I have these 2 pieces of rebarb, and they will go across here, like so. And then the cooking grate will go right on top. I have to clean the cooking grate, get it all ready, so I'm not gonna put it under now. But and then I have these pieces of metal here. These I can use to deflect, you know, maybe if I got too much wind coming in, I can set these up here like so, and they can create a heat box. I have plenty, I can go all the way around it. I will more than likely get some blocks to put on top of here to create a lid. When we get ready to assemble the rest, we'll come back and I'll show you. Okay, so I got the fire built. I was a little nervous. I wasn't going to get a good fire going in time. Got the chicken on. This is half of it. I'm going to put a lid on it to kind of help bake it a little bit. So just take this tin, top, like so, and if I want to, I can put a piece on the front. You can hear them. You can hear it sizzling. Well, that's a wrap. We got super busy and we really didn't have time to film the rest of the cooking because we had to get it done and get it out the door. And then just out of courtesy of the bride and groom, we just decided not to film there. But yeah, as you can see here, we just finished the dishes and we're all cleaned up and gonna call it a night because I'm tired. Stayed up till midnight last night, put the meat on, went to bed, got up at 5 o'clock this morning, start the fire, pull the meat off, get it all, everything all ready to go, and yeah, it's been a long day. So yeah. So for the menu, I ended up doing a Mediterranean pasta salad, and we did a broccoli salad, and instead of using like sunflower seeds like you normally use, we used Northwest hazelnuts, and then I did my own. It was arugula with roasted beets and oranges, hazelnuts, and feta, and the arugula was tossed in a olive oil. Then I did pulled pork sliders, and we did chicken thighs. So this morning I had to build the fire, as you saw, for the chicken thighs, everything turned out really well. Chicken's a hard one because you want to cook, make sure it's cooked, and then it just tends to dry out. Even thighs can dry out pretty easily, but I think everything turned out okay. So yeah, everybody was happy, and we had enough food, just barely. Fishes and what is it? Fishes and loaves.
No, loaves and fishes.
Loaves and fishes, because we literally had enough pulled pork for the last person in line. Then when the groom came back through for a second, so I was like, it's okay. There was plenty of chicken and plenty of salad, so yeah.
So, just finished the wedding. She's looking cute. This is the welcome table arrangement that I just did. Rest of the wedding. I think it turned out really nice. So this is the bridal bouquet that I did this morning. She turned out very pretty. We have some really fun Geranium in here that I popped in. It smells amazing. This is a new cut for us. Have a couple pops of it in here. She's really cute and dainty, but she has this great smell to it. Just simple ribbon. Have that in a bridesmaid bouquet. I really like how it turned out though. Like for a red and white wedding, I think it's very soft and romantic and classic looking. I think sometimes red and white can be very harsh and seem outdated. So I'm really glad that, I don't know, I was able to make it look good. I mean, that sounds really conceited. But like, no, like, you know, I'm good at my job. We had some anemones that bloomed really small this year. So I thought that they'd be perfect for boutonniere flowers, and they just look so pretty and dainty. I'm really excited about those. So we'll probably take some leftover flowers and put them around the house, just to like make it nice for the weekend. Mom and Dad will probably be gone a lot this weekend because they are also catering for this wedding. But you know, it's part of the joy of being flower farmers. You get to decorate all the time. There's that.
Okay, so as I promised, I said that I would talk to you a little bit about the scented geraniums that we're growing here on the farm this year. We did a whole video on this in depth and detail, I think last year about this time. So you can check that one out. I'll try and link it below, but I'm just going to give you a quick run through of what we're growing here this year. We've kind of solidified it down. We have less space. So anyway, so I thought I would just show you. These all come from a different nursery just down in Cottage Grove, which is a couple hours from us, or an hour and 45 or something like that. It's a ways. But so this one here is called, this one's called Bourbon Rose. Now this particular plant is beautiful. I love it. So this one can be very robust. It gets very tall for us. And because we do the mixed bouquets, this one is a great filler for us in the summertime. So we like this one because it gets so tall. We're gonna actually plant some of these in the greenhouse in the next 2 weeks and get them started going before we plant some outside. This one's Atomic Snowflake, and I loved this one. Look at that leaf on it. This one we're growing mainly for events and wedding work, and because it smells amazing. All scented geraniums kind of have a different smell, but that one's really nice. So this one is very well known, not only for the landscape and like growing them in containers. This is called Lady Plymouth. It's kind of got a slight variegated leaf on it. It's very, and then it's got kind of a pinky flower. You can see the little flowers starting. So sometimes we let those flower and then actually use that as well. But this one's absolutely gorgeous and it smells good too. It's not too fragrant, not like some of these other ones. This one is kind of the star of the show as far as a cutting farm or a flower farm that we do event work and flowers for, because this one is, you can't grow enough of it. So it's a scented geranium, Fair Ellen. It's got a really interesting smell to it, but look at that leaf. Isn't that fun? So this one sells really well for us, like at our wholesale markets, and then also when we're doing weddings and events, we'll use this one as well. So the last one we're growing is Lime. So this is just a really dainty leaf. It's got a nice flower on it. But this one I like just for, again, arrangements, and it's got a really nice scent to it as well. Kind of a lime. It's very, very heavily scented. So we have this year about 130 plants. The majority of them are this Bourbon Rose that we're using for our mixed bouquets, just because we do so many mixed bouquets, and I absolutely love that in a bouquet, just to have something that smells beautiful, that just kind of entices people's sensory when they get our flowers back home. The one other thing that scented geranium, I was just thinking about it a little bit. Scented geranium is not hardy in our zone. We're a zone 8B, but it is hardy down in zone 10 and 11. But if you're going to grow scented geraniums, I would suggest growing them, especially if you're doing it in the landscape. If you put them in some like really nice terracotta pots or some way like that that you could bring it in, they'll do great for pretty much all climates. They just don't like the cold or frost. They're a little bit tender that way, and even in our zone we have to be kind of careful. We do have some varieties that come back pretty well for us that we just, you know, forget about. They're out in the field and then they'll come back and they'll be like, oh, guess what? This one did great for us. The other thing about scented geraniums is you see it a lot of times in like dish soap and that kind of thing. So it is known for its properties of antibacterial and antimicrobial benefits. So like if you're growing like an herb garden or a medicinal garden, this is a great one to kind of add in to be able to use the oils from to put in your own homemade soaps. So anyways, it's pretty cool.
So I talked about these last week, but these are all my lovely little raspberry starts that need to go in the ground like ASAP. But I wasn't sure if they would come back because last year I didn't do any research on how you're supposed to prune raspberries like at all, and I kind of just guessed that you're like, oh, you just chop them all to the ground. Apparently that is incorrect. So I was like, oh no, I killed all like 15 of my raspberry starts and they're like doomed and I'm gonna have to buy all new ones. But you know what? They pulled through, apparently. And as you can see, they are coming back along with some wild onion in there. I'm definitely excited. We have like, I don't even know some of the varieties of these because a lot of these were actually gifted to us by our friend Flora. They were taken out of her yard, so next time I see her, I'll definitely have to ask her what variety of raspberry they are, if they are a fall fruiting or if they are summer fruiting. But we also have some golden raspberries in here that I bought from our friends over at Wavra last year. They're amazing. I'm so excited about those, and I really, really hope that they also return these ones, the yellow raspberries. As you can see, there's nothing yet, but hopefully they're still alive. Soon, these will get in the ground. Don't know when.
We'll get it done.
We'll get it done.
I'm gonna show you guys today what we've done with the small greenhouse. It's way different. It really got pretty crusty during the winter, but I'm gonna start with the outside. The outside, we have these lovely olive trees, which I believe we're gonna probably plant out because they're getting a little bit too big for their pots. I think they've grown like this much since last year. They've gotten really big, but I love them. I love olive trees. I didn't actually know that they could actually do well in Oregon. Yeah, so this last summer we finished this. We're gonna add a few things. We're gonna go antiquing this year, add some cafe lights to the outside, collect some kind of knick-knacky things, which I have this mirror that we collected we wanted to put in here. Come on inside and I'll show you guys. A lot of these succulents we've had for a long time. Some of them come from our great grandma's house. Our family passes down plants, so also a few of them are like looking a little rough after this winter, which was a little bit scary because they are from our grandma's, so we're really trying to save them, especially the jade plants. So this next year, the goal is that we are going to double pane or double layer this whole thing so it stays a little bit warmer. Right now it only has one layer and it gets a little bit cold in here, a little too cold. So every spring, it's always a fun job. It's one of my favorite jobs to go through and clean up everything. Take out all the dead leaves, kind of like this, throw them away, clean up the soil, add some fertilizer. I just did some Miracle-Gro on all of them. Start to water them, because throughout the winter you don't really need to water. They kind of go dormant. But we have so many fun plants in here. I also like to almost propagate all the succulents, add more in, take out the dead ones, spread them out. They look so good this year. Like, come look at these ones. Like, they look like really pretty cabbage almost. And then we have 2 lemon trees, which, man, they have died so many times and then come back to life. We're not the best at lemon trees because they do need quite a bit of water, and they just, a lot of times in the summer, they'll dry out just because we are doing so many other things. It's hard to remember. So this year I want to be really good at setting them out in a place where we will remember them. And they look really nice. I refreshed their pots. I actually repotted this one. Put some stones on the top to get the weeds away. They look all nice now. The goal for this greenhouse, we wanted it to be almost an outdoor office. So we put this little table in here. Early mornings, if we would rather work outside, bring our laptop out here, something like that. And it's aesthetic, looks very cute, very, I don't know, motivating, I guess. So yeah, I'm excited about this. We're gonna put more things in here. I also put these really cute bottles in here. Sometimes we like to put some flowers like cosmos or wildflowers in them just to make it really happy in here.
So I also thought to give you just a quick tour of my blue cool garden. This garden needs a lot of work. It always does, I feel like. And I'm going to get to it. That's the thing. I'm gonna get to it. Normally we've just been so wet this year and it's just been ridiculous. I haven't gotten to get outside and get all the compost and it weeded. There are so many weeds through here. But anyways, I thought it's still pretty. It's coming along. I'll show you a full tour of that again, and all the things that I added to it this year are coming up. So it's really, really pretty. Anyways, I thought this would be kind of fun for you to see. And then next week we'll show you as we clean it up and kind of the end result. So the garden is just now coming to life. You can see we've got the lilac trees are just now putting on some buds. They are loaded with lilacs this year. This is an old-fashioned variety that I got from the little schoolhouse down the road. And then we also have the little bluebells that are coming in here. Some of them already have the little bells showing. So I've got to get in here and clean up some of the ferns. The hellebores are still going pretty strong. They look amazing. I have little things popping up and going. New little ferns just kind of coming along. Some astilbe that's pushing up. Lots and lots of irises. Those are kind of a peachy iris. So you can tell over here where Riley was talking about our fig tree that kind of distorted. We're going to put a little outdoor kitchen that we're planning to build this summer for Jason. Solomon seal just poking up. Really pretty. We have a little gem that is starting to bloom. Those will get nice and tall. This is always just a welcome sight. So I learned something the other day. So these are the beautiful alliums that come up. We've got several different kinds, but you can see that the leaf on the allium at the very tip starts to turn just like an onion does when it starts to bloom. So I've learned a couple tricks that you're supposed to plant something, say like a daylily or something like that that has beautiful foliage that kind of adds interest, but you can put a daylily at the base of it and then that will kind of hide some of that yucky foliage, and then you have those beautiful blooms that come up and look amazing. But I haven't done that yet, so we've got these kind of weird, I thought I did something wrong with the allium. I'm like, what is going on? They look, I guess, going through the same process as an onion, but anyways, that is what is happening with them. That's a very normal life cycle of an allium. Let me know if you have that problem and how you fix that. I'd love to know down in the comments. So again, you can see all the weeds. So next week we're going to come through here, clean everything up and get some compost down. And I'm going to show you, take you along as we do a before and after. We're just going to focus on this garden this next week, and it's going to look absolutely lovely when we're all done with it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I know we're all anxious for spring to come. We've just had enough of the rain, and I'm just so excited for some of these blooms to just pop and the farm to go nuts. I would say in about 1 month, the farm is going to be off the hook, gorgeous flowers. We've waited a long time for this. You know, I always say that in, like, say, the end of September, October, we're kind of like at the point where I just want to call it quits and be done, but we're not done. And I'm trying to remind myself of this moment here where I'm anxiously awaiting the season, and that when it comes fall, that I'll be like just thankful that we have flowers and blooms and a garden to work in. Because this year, I tell you guys, it has been so wet. It's pretty disheartening. Yesterday, the wind was just whipping and blowing, and rain was coming down, just pelting down. I mean, it was literal storm out. And we've just had so much rain here in the Northwest. I know California as well. We're kind of set up for the rain. You know, we have all the systems in place. California doesn't. It's pretty hard to see all the devastation. And part of it, too, is the demand for flowers for us is pretty heavy. We're running late, a couple weeks late. And that's Mother Nature for you. But it's hard to say no to people when they're just like, oh, I need this, I need that. Anyways, well, much success in all you do and grow. And we'll be seeing you shortly back here at Crowley House very soon. Until then, bye-bye.